Welcome to this video. Today we're going to be going over how to make a VBS file, how to create folders, copy folders, rename folders, do all sorts of good stuff. So I'm going to make a text document and I'm going to save it as a VBS file. And I'll just call it copy.vbs. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a folder and I'm going to copy some SolidWorks parts into it. And I'll call it folder 1. So let's say I want to create a folder 2. If that be the case, then I'm going to edit this and create folder 2. To do that, option explicit, and I need to have a space. I'm going to say okay. Now I'm going to say FSO dot create folder, and to be very clear, I'm going to say I'm going to create a folder on my desktop. I'm going to call it folder 2. I'm going to save that, and it creates folder 2. Now, let's say I want to take all the contents of folder 1 and copy them into folder 2. Then I'm going to say FSO dot copy folder. And omitting the parentheses, I do not need parentheses for copy folder, only create folder. I'm going to say then I'm going to highlight this, Control C, and then I'm going to add in a comma, Control V, and I'm going to switch this to folder 2. So I have my two paths specified, and the basic format of this is the file path of where I want to take the files from, or in this case the folder that I want to copy, and the file path of where I want to copy it to. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to run it. Creates a folder and it puts the files inside of this folder. What if I find that to be very tedious? One thing that I can do is I can add in two variables, and I can say now I've said what path to copy from is going to be variable 1, and what path to copy to is variable 2. And since I want to use the value of these variables, I don't even need quotation marks. So I say copy folder var1 var2, and that will read the value of whatever that variable is and whatever the value of that variable is. So I'll save that, and since I have it creating a folder, I'll get rid of this, and it's going to ask me, what do I want to copy that path from? I'll steal this path, and what do I want to copy it to? I'll change that. I want to copy it to folder 2, which it's going to create. And it creates a folder, and this allows me to take any path in my system, unless it's in some protected folder like Windows System 32, and it will allow me to copy those files in. So it should be very useful to use input boxes if I don't want to have a program that does only one set of folder paths. What if I'd like to delete folder 2? How would I do that? I'll say FSO dot, you guessed it, delete folder. And I specify folder 2. And I accidentally deleted my FSO value, so I better add that in. So now when I go to delete this folder, I'll just run the program, and the folder is deleted immediately. So now that I know how to delete and create folders, how do I move folders? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say fso.move folder. I'm going to create a generic folder. I'll call it the Supra folder because I drive a Supra and I really enjoy the car. Move folder, and I'm going to specify the file path by saying, much like the copy folder, I'll put the file path of where it's coming from, comma, and where do I want to put it? This is going to generate an error, and I'll show you why. It says file already exists. The problem is I want to put it into the super folder, and in order to do that I got to add an extra backslash on the end. So I'll save that and run it, and the folder is taken off the desktop and placed into the Supra folder. Now that we know how to move folders, what about renaming folders? What if I want to rename the Supra to Skyline? If that be the case, then I'll say desktop / and I'll specify my Supra folder, comma, and I want to put the exact same desktop, and I'll say Skyline, the exact same folder path, and I'll say Skyline. Now when I run this folder, it becomes Skyline. So that's all well and good because now we know how to deal with folders. What if we wanted to create a new text file? This is a very interesting command. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say fso.create text file. And I will put you can put the folder path in, especially if you're not going to create the file in the directory of where your icon is here. I'm going to just write the name supra.txt. So I want to make a text file called Supra, and it creates one. What if I want to make a Word document? Then I'll say .doc, and it makes one. What if I wanted to make an empty JPEG? And it makes one. Or, what if I wanted to work with SolidWorks? I'll say .solidpart, and it makes one. So you can make all sorts of files with this command. I'll get rid of these because I don't need them. If I wanted to recreate my last solid part, and then what if I want to move it into the Skyline folder? I'll say, you guessed it, move file, and I'll say supra.sldprt into the Skyline folder. And of course I remember my backslash because I'll need to put it inside that folder. And now it's inside the Skyline folder. Same thing with renaming and moving. Everything is the same except you say file instead of folder. And that is how you do it. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please subscribe, and that's the best way to help me back. And I'll catch you next time.